Hello, everyone. This is Magnum Creed. Now, if you are a channel, YouTuber, podcast, anybody who cares about the First, Second Amendment, even regular people, and our other rights, you need to speak up when it comes to these Dayton, Ohio shootings, El Paso, Texas shootings, the Gilroy shooting in California, because there is a blame game, and it's used to take away rights. They blame video games, they blame right wing media, left wing media, freedom of speech, and of course, guns in certain races. It always happens. And we lose rights over this and things gets worse. And it's beside the point that these shootings are fishy as hell to begin with. The number one thing to blame is ourselves. We neglected our own responsibility as a community, as a country, and put a lot of the burden on the government in exchange for our freedoms and rights. And this is the result. Um, Even now, we're asking what should the government do because we are so far over the hill we can't picture deciding as a community. Whether you believe in him or not, I do, by the way, we've turned our back on God and godly values. Uh, just a few examples. Cheating is probably one of the first or second most hurtful things you can do to somebody. Right? It's probably the most hurtful thing that will happen in a lot of people's lives spans. And guess what? It's completely legal. There's no punishment for it whatsoever. It's hard to turn a dollar. It's hard to start your own business without cutting through all kinds of red tape and regulations or whatever. And that's probably those two things, cheating, money, infidelity, whatever, those are the motivations for a lot of murder. And probably most murders, if not relatively all of them, instead of somebody, unless it's just somebody being crazy, right? And whatever the case is with this, like this hatred, this pure hatred that has somebody go down and shoot up a bunch of people, they don't even know, right? One guy shot his sister, and he was considered to be the left wing guy, right? But even still, I don't think that really had much of a part to play. I don't think it matters if you're left wing, right wing, red, black, white, blue, purple, Middle Eastern, Muslim, Christian, whatever, atheist, whatever have you. I do think that, people, they have a need for some type of, like, attachment to a belief in their system. I think most people have that. And when they don't have it with one thing, they attach it too much to politics, or they attach it too much to, some other rhetoric, their national pride or whatever, and it gets overblown, right? They attach it too much to being pro green, or earth, or drugs, or weed, or something. And you notice these people, they do something over and over and over again. They have bad habits and no problem solving skills, which is another thing. We don't we don't have problem solving skills anymore. We have so many broken families that we did not learn problem solving skills growing up. Think of it like this: you have somebody who grows up, and every time someone doesn't like something they do, they get told, no, don't do that, or else, right? Or else you're going to be put on punishment, or else you get a timeout, or else, you won't get this, or because, I'm in charge and you're not, I'm big, you're little, I'm right, you're wrong, I'm smart, you're dumb, and there's nothing you can do about it. And if you don't listen, you face consequences, right? If you don't listen to police, you get a punishment. If you don't listen to your teacher, you get a punishment. Don't listen to your parents, you get a punishment. And if you don't get a punishment, then you just learn how to act out, right? And I understand it's not that you should not punish your kids. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is there has to be another type of problem solving, right? You learn problem solving bouncing off of other kids, but you should also learn adult problem solving by seeing your parents interact growing up. And if you do not have that in your life, where do you learn your problem solving skills from? Right? And when you get older, then you feel like your only problem solving is punishment, right? Like, okay, this person's not doing what I want to, so the problem solving for that is punishing them, right? If a woman and a man didn't get along and she's not happy anymore, she leaves, right? Or he cheats, or he leaves, you know, and that's not problem solving. That's making matters worse. And it creates more and more hatred until now we have generation after generation who not only doesn't know problem solving, they learn vindictiveness from their parents. They learn hatred from their parents, and only their biggest role model is somebody who probably, in one way or another, hurt their family. Right, was part of splitting a family up. That wasn't problem solving. And I'm not saying that some people don't need, like, if you're in a bad situation, I'm not saying you shouldn't leave, but people will make almost any excuse to leave their families. People walk away from almost every bad situation nowadays. People don't stick in jobs if they don't enjoy them anymore. They rather just mooch. And then we have a society that makes it easier to mooch off the government because now they're scared of capitalism. I mean, they're scared of all their rights, right? They're scared of their right to own a business. They're scared of their right. I mean, really, their right to drive a car. The Green New Deal. I mean, that's basically getting rid of all vehicles. What are you going to have the right to do? And we create this fear on both sides, right? We fear, we act like we're scared of people coming over who are different than us. And sometimes, yeah, you need to put things in check. And then we're scared to put things in check, right? It's like this streams on all sides. What do we expect is going to happen? But no, we blame video games. That's what people jump to was video games. And then for people who don't understand, then a lot of people have been saying, oh, well, maybe what about these red flag laws? What you don't understand about red flag laws, if you're ever familiar with video gaming at all, right? Like this video gaming culture, there was a thing called swatting, still kind of a thing. Basically, with people on live stream, you call the police, say they had like a bunch of cocaine or they killed somebody or something like that. And then a SWAT team will basically storm into their house. Basically, you dox them, you get their information, send a SWAT, make up a fake story, and you send a SWAT team to their house. And it's sometimes hard to trace back who that who made the call or whatever. But red flag laws are basically making swatting legal. And this puts people in danger. Like, people have been shot over this, right? Someone has been shot over this swatting thing. And luckily they were able to get somebody, arrested because swatting is illegal. But red flag laws is legal swatting. It's legal. You can legally call the police and have them swat whoever's house you want to, because that's what they do. They're not going to, you don't say like, oh, hey, there's a person who's mentally unstable with and armed at their house. And then you think the police are going to knock on the door and say, hey, by the way, somebody told us that you were, off the hinges and had a weapon. Do you mind, if we take your guns away from you? No, they don't do that. They bust in the door. And there's some people have been killed over, like they killed the man. If you haven't heard of the story, because they placated it as, I might be using the wrong word, but they painted it as this man, right? Oh, these 5 police officers got shot, and look at how hard of a job they have. And then later the truth came out, and what really happened was the police stormed in a man's house, shot his dog. They were undercover. The man didn't know they were undercover. He shot back at the police officers, right? Because what would you do if a bunch of undercover people stormed into your house? You don't know who they are. Shot your dog. What would you do? That's exactly what the gun was meant for. He shot back at them. He got killed. His dog got killed. His partner, his woman got killed, long-term woman. All of them got killed, and all 5 police officers got shot, or 4 or 5 police officers got shot, and 1 got injured, in the knee or something. I mean, really, that's what you're calling for. What these red flag laws? So the question is, the red flag laws could have prevented, and this is what people bring up, they could have prevented, I believe, the Florida shooting, where they kept sending people to the man's house. Like, the police had been called multiple times, but there wasn't really much they could do. So the question is, what they could have did. But in these cases, the police weren't called, right? In these cases, the police weren't really able to do anything. And there should be some form of middle ground, right? Because the thing is, unless you've already done something bad, If you punish people before they do anything, you're violating their rights. But you can look into stuff they have done, right? Because if the person, because they say, oh, well, we can take away the guns before, before they do anything bad. Okay, but most of the time you're going to find that there are thousands millions of gun owners who don't do anything. And then you have like a handful of people who do. So every time this red flag law does get used, right, it would basically mostly infringe on people who aren't going to do anything. Now, they also paint it as okay, it could save some people who are trying to commit suicide, but I think it would cause more suicides because all these people who are going to say, you know what, give me liberty or give me death, they're going to have cop assisted suicides when they otherwise probably would have done nothing at all. We're going to have a whole lot of deaths, and it's going to result in even more deaths because now not only are you going to have people who would have otherwise done nothing, like been law-abiding citizens, and just refused to give up certain freedoms. You're going to also have people who aren't going to be around to protect others in danger. Here's a big issue. Someone's attacking you, right? Someone's about to stab you or whatever. A guy in a certain, let's say, a particular city, right? No Freedom City. So a guy in No Freedom City shoots the person to protect you. Okay, now he's going to prison because he's not allowed to shoot that person. What sense does it make for you to have a gun and not be allowed to protect somebody else, right? Now, there can be caught into discrepancy, right? Like, okay, he misjudged the situation. That's punishable already. But in No Freedom City, he's being punished either for having a gun in the first place for shooting somebody without running away, right? Because a lot of places, a lot of states and cities and stuff, it's criminal to shoot somebody without exhausting every possible option of getting away. And trying to exhaust those options are what gets a lot of people hurt in the first place because you're on defense in the first place. What difference does it make? If somebody bursts down your door to, steal stuff out your house or rape you or whatever the case may be, I know I'm probably not allowed to say that word, but really, what do you think? Why are you upset that person got shot? I know you would rather them live, but at a certain point, we have to protect the rights of the victims. And in almost every other situation, we care about that, but we don't care about protecting the rights of the people who this person is targeting. Um, and yes, it's sad to see any life go. It is. But people need to make wiser decisions, and people need to be able to be held accountable. And sometimes they're not working out down here, and they need to be sent to God or to, wherever you believe in to be judged because this is a terrible situation we have. And making people sit in ducks is not going to help. Another thing is these gun-free zones are a big, a big cause of this. A lot of people might be like, well, in Texas, isn't Texas very pro-gun? No. Compared to a lot of states, Texas is not very pro-gun. Two, a lot of people, just because they have guns doesn't mean they carry. And three, one of the things people don't understand about El Paso is that a lot of those people just, I hate to, I don't want to sound rude or bigoted about it, but a lot of those people just simply aren't American and they don't have the right to carry. They can't get the right to carry because they would need special permission from the government. And guess what? El Paso is a blue city. They probably aren't going to give permission to people to carry, especially if they're not even. I mean, think about it. How can you even ask the government for permission to carry if you're not even supposed to be there in the first place? And I'm not getting into that immigration BS. I don't really have the dog in that fight is a stupid dog. There's no we can some people come over? Yes. Do we need some type of regulation? Yes. I think either way you have to just be sensible about it. You can't even the dumbest of the most far left wing people, um, when pushed far enough, do have to sit and admit that, yeah, there has to be some system in place to make sure it doesn't go insane. You can't just let everybody in South of America come into the United States. That's silly. But the point is, a lot of those people don't have the ability to carry. Now in Dayton, Ohio, um, once again, acknowledging that a lot of people who do own guns don't even carry. In Ohio, that was a downtown area. A lot of those downtown areas have places you can't go in with guns. Unlike here in Michigan and Detroit, you can Detroit in Michigan, you can go into places that say no guns and you won't be prosecuted. In Ohio, to the best of my knowledge, if you go in a place that says no guns, that is you've screwed up, right? And you get caught, you screwed up. So there's something to acknowledge there. A lot of people going in those areas, they know, okay, the places I'm going in, I can carry. Even in Detroit, though, however, a lot of the places downtown, you can't carry in. You can't go to the casinos. You can't go into bars. You're getting checked in most of the places you're going to, unless you're going to just like a restaurant. So why would you even have it on you? I mean, it's just something to acknowledge. So that being the case, a lot of people, there's always people who aren't familiar with guns, right? Uh, there's women who just don't put themselves in the like self-defense situation. There's men as well who don't really put themselves in the self-defense situation, but it's more women. Even if you have like a regular couple relationship, it's usually the man who works it out through his head all the time. Like, okay, what am I going to do if this happens? And then a little dog chases him, and then he runs, and then he clicks in his head like, oh yeah, that's right, I have to be the macho guy and stand in front, and protect my woman and child from the chihuahua. But I mean, human is human. A lot of people do freak out sometimes, and that's just the case. But there are people from other countries who, let's just face it, they not even familiar with being in an area where people carry guns all the time. They'll see a gun, and people who aren't familiar or haven't been around them or whatever, they see a gun and they freak the heck out. They're like, oh my god, oh my god, da, da. But people who've been around them all the time, they're like, well, okay, whatever. It's a piece of metal. I mean, really, it's a metal tube with a handle to it. If you have a metal tube with a handle to it, you have a gun. The only thing it has to do is have a thick enough metal pipe to that's all a gun is a metal pipe with a handle to it. If it has a metal pipe, you can bang a bullet through it, and the longer the metal pipe, the more deadly the bullet, basically. The big issue is, rifling and whatever, it's part two, but basically the big issue is people are scared of the fact that these guns can hold multiple rounds. But as you've seen through a lot of these shootings, it doesn't matter whether it's a long gun or a handgun. The bottom line is these people wind up unalive because they don't have ways to defend themselves. And that's just simply, but they end up sitting ducks, and they end up using themselves as human shields for people they care about and for children in the area and all that. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about, okay, should we have these red flag laws? Should it be harder to purchase guns? Blah, blah, blah. There's nothing you can really do to make it, because all these people can pass background checks. What is it that you think would add? What can you add? Making them wait longer? Okay, these people, what did they buy it the first day, and as soon as they got it, they strapped up and drove down? Doesn't seem like it. It seemed like they knew what they were using it. So what? At a certain point, you have to accept that these things aren't going to stop these people. And we as a community have to, one, prevent people from even wanting to do stuff like this, right? Not insulting them, not take. I mean, yeah, you can. This person was a piece of garbage. We can say that all you want to. What I'm saying is, we are making people worse. We are making our country worse and our community worse by festering hate on all sides, and we know it. That the Antifa crap, the Proud Boys crap, all this garbage is going on. We jump so much on the hype train of who should be elected, who should be in office. So if we never gave them that much power to begin with, it really wouldn't matter who would be in office. Let's settle with that.